Today on this 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee, we'll be having a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit, part number RM-15267. Here's what our diodes look like installed. As you can see, what's great about this is that it utilizes the factory lights on our vehicle, so we don't have to deal with using a magnetic tow light when we want to flat tow our Grand Cherokee behind our motorhome. Now, what sets us apart from other options out there is that by utilizing diodes, not only do we get to utilize our factory lights in the vehicle, but it also protects our expensive electrical components from any backfeed of voltage from our motorhome, so we don't have to worry about any damage happening to those components. What many of our customers like about this is it's one less thing they have to worry about. They don't have to worry about storing a pair of magnetic tow lights or the paint on their vehicle getting scratched from the light slipping and sliding on the surface. With this, you simply plug in one connection to your motorhome and that's it. You don't have to worry about flipping any switches either, because as soon as you unplug it and you want to drive your vehicle as normal, the factory lights work without any user intervention. Here's what it looks like on the front of our vehicle. The included 6-pole round connector will mount easily to your base plate. We have a spring-loaded dust cover here, which protects the connector from the elements. And we have a 7-way to a 6-pole round umbilical here that's coiled, so we don't have to worry about any cable dragging on the ground. The 7-way in will go to our motorhome, and once that's plugged in order to get our lights to work, we'll simply lift up on the dust cover, insert the connector, push, and we're ready to go. For this particular flat tow setup, we used a Roadmaster EZ5 base plate kit, a Roadmaster Falcon all-terrain non-binding tow bar, the Roadmaster Diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit for our lighting system, and for our supplemental braking system we used the SMI Air Force 1 for motorhomes with air brakes. Now, depending upon your application, you may or may not need to get a high-low adapter to ensure that your tow bar is at the proper height between the motorhome and your towed vehicle. And now that we've gone over some features, we'll show you how to get it installed. While we had our fascia off when we installed the base plate, this is a good opportunity to mount any breakaway switches we may have for our supplemental braking system and run any wiring we have for a towed vehicle lighting system. We attached our breakaway switch to our mounting bracket using the provided hardware with our breakaway switch to the mounting hole, and our 4-pole flat wiring we ran inside the provided wire loom with it, and both these wires will run behind the fascia beam here, and they'll come up through a gap here and then go into our engine compartment where they come up right in this area here. So this is where our wiring came out behind our fascia inside this wiring loom. We went ahead and routed this to the back of the vehicle, making sure we avoided any moving parts or sources of heat such as the exhaust, and we secured it along the way with several zip ties. Our wire goes above our rack and pinion here and above our CV axle. We made sure we zip tied it above both of these since these parts do move and it's not making contact. And we started routing it towards the back, just securing it along the way. Went behind this heat shield here to help keep it away from our exhaust as far as possible. Then we have it zip tied to this cover for our fuel line and brake line brackets. Goes underneath this plastic shield. Comes out. Goes to the side of our fuel tank, up over our filler neck hose, and then it goes over our rear subframe, continues over our rear subframe. And then we have it zip tied to a wiring harness behind the subframe. And this is where we'll leave it for right now. Now that we have our wire routed all the way to the back, we're going to work on installing our connector on the front. To do that, we'll take our 4-pole flat wiring and we'll separate all 4 of the individual wires. Now we'll strip off insulation from all 4 wires. We'll take our connector now, remove the dust cover from the back of it, and we'll slide our wires through that. Just push that out of the way for the time being. Now on the back side of our connector, we'll find 6 terminals where we're going to be connecting wires to 4 of them. We'll start with the one marked GD, and that's for ground. We'll loosen the set screw, and that'll get our white wire. We'll stick that inside, and tighten the set screw. Then we'll do our tail light and marker light wire. That goes to terminal marked TM. That'll get our brown wire. Now we'll do our left turn signal. That's the terminal marked LT, and that gets our yellow wire. This also works for our left brake light. Now we'll do our right turn signal and right brake light. It's terminal marked RT, and that gets our green wire. And here's what it looks like with all of our connections made. Now we'll take some dielectric grease, which we have available on our website, and we'll flood the backside of our connector, and this will help prevent any corrosion from occurring if moisture was to get inside. And with that coated, we'll slide the dust cover back down over our connector. Now we'll take some electrical tape, and we will tape our connector and dust cover together. This will also add an extra moisture barrier. And we'll continue taping down the dust cover until we covered up all of our colored wires hanging down. This way we won't see any colored wires behind our fascia. Now we'll mount our connector to our base plate using the self-tapping screws that came with our base plate. Now we'll open our rear hatch. Now we'll remove both of our tail light assemblies. In order to do this, we have two clips on them. And these plastic fasteners, this center section will pop out. You use a flathead screwdriver or a trim panel tool like I have. The center section out, and then the larger section around it will come out as well. Now we can grab our taillight assembly and we'll pull it away from the vehicle. Now we'll remove our bulbs by twisting counterclockwise. Take this bulb out here as well. This one's for an LED strip. So we'll disconnect this by sliding this red tab back and then pressing on this black tab and pulling to separate. We'll do the same thing for the other side. Okay, we went ahead and separated our 4 wires in the back just like we did at the front, and we did that up until the point where we have it secured behind our rear subframe. Now our white wire, this is our ground wire. We need to secure this to the vehicle's chassis using the provided self-tapping screw. I'm going to do that right in this area here. So I'll measure off how much I'm going to need, cut off the excess, save it in case I need it for later, strip back some insulation, take our provided ring terminal, place it over the wire, and crimp it down. Now I'll take our self-tapping screw and secure it to the sheet metal. Now we'll take our yellow and our brown wire and we'll connect it to a pull wire that we drop down behind our tail light on the driver's side. Now we'll pull this up behind our tail light. Now we'll take off some of the insulation and electrical tape off our large bulb and our LED connector here so we have access to the wires inside. Okay, now we're going to measure off how much of our yellow and brown wire that we're going to need. About 8 inches or so from our taillight housings, plenty. So we'll just cut off the excess. Now we have our headlights turned on. We'll take our taillight connector here and we'll use a test light to determine which one of our wires is for our taillight signal. Okay, it's this terminal here, which corresponds to our white wire. We'll go ahead and turn off our headlights now and make our connection to this wire. And we'll cut it right in the middle. And we'll strip back insulation from both ends. We'll take our blue spade connectors and we'll crimp those on to our wire. We'll take our diode now. The output side will go towards our connector, and the other wire will go to one of the inputs. It doesn't matter which one. Now we'll take our brown wire here and we'll strip off some insulation. Now because this is for our tail light signal, we need to get a signal over to the other side. So we'll take our longest section of leftover wire that we have. In this case, this will be our white wire. We'll strip off some insulation from one end as well, and we'll twist the two together. This will give us a separate lead to go over to the passenger side. Now we'll take our yellow spade connector, stick that on the wires, and we'll crimp that into place. And we'll plug that into the other input side of our diode pack. Right now we have an assistant stepping on our brake pedal. You can see our lights illuminated. We're going to test to see which wire is for our brake light. Alright, it'll be this white wire here, so we can turn off our brakes now and make our connection. Now we'll go ahead and cut that white wire in the middle, strip back insulation from both ends, and we'll attach our blue spade connectors. With those crimped on now, I'll take a diode pack. Again, the output side always goes towards the bulb or connector, and the other end will go to one of the inputs, does not matter which one. We'll take our yellow wire now, strip off some insulation from it, and we'll crimp on a blue spade connector. We'll attach that to the other side of our diode pack. And this is what it looks like with all the connections made on the driver's side of our vehicle. Now the white wire that we tied together with our brown wire, we'll drop that down behind our fascia, the same path that we brought our wires up. Now we can take our taillight assembly, reconnect it, reinstall the bulbs, and we'll reinstall the assembly. Our green wire that needs to go to our passenger side for the turn signal and brake light, we routed over from where we separated it to our factory tow package wiring on the right side, right above our hitch. And we secured it there, as well as with the white wire, which we brought over from the driver's side. And this, of course, is the wire that we tied in with the brown wire behind the driver's side tail light and drop down. And we have them taped to a pull wire that we dropped down, so now we can bring them up behind our taillight assembly. And now we'll measure off how much wire we're going to need, cut off the excess, and strip off some insulation from both those wires. And we'll crimp on our spade connectors. Here we have our headlights turned on again. Now we're going to test and see which one of our wires is for our tail light. Should be the white wire, but we'll double check. Okay, it is the white wire. All right, we'll cut that white wire in the middle. Strip back insulation from both ends. And we'll crimp on our spade connectors. Okay, we'll take our diode pack, output side towards our connector, input. We'll get the other factory wire, and then we'll take our white wire that we brought up, plug it into the other input. Now we'll have our assistant step on the brake pedal again. Okay, with our brake light now on, we'll test. It should be this white wire, but we'll double check anyway. Okay, it is the white wire. So we'll get off the brake pedal now, and we'll make our connections. So we'll cut the white wire, strip back some insulation from both ends, crimp on our connectors, take our final diode pack, make our connections there, output towards the bulb, input for the factory wire, and the other input we'll get our green wire. And this is what it looks like with all of our connections made on the passenger side. Alright, we'll plug back in all of our bulbs. Okay, we have our umbilical that comes with our diode kit hooked up to a trailer tester right now in our vehicle. You can also just hook up to your motorhome. We're going to test our lights and make sure that everything works properly. Okay, we'll start by turning on our tail lights. And as you can see, our tail lights are working great. We'll now do our left turn signal. And that's working properly. Now we use our brake lights. Those are working good too. And finally, our right turn signal. And as you can see, that's working as well. And that completes our look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit, part number RM-15267 on this 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Thanks for watching, and click the link in our description below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com. And leave us a comment if you have any questions.